Hello, everybody. Alongside Don Helbig, I'm Ryan Cern. Welcome to the Pick Six, the podcast by the Attractions Group, where we bring you the latest stories from the attraction and amusement industry.
Now, before we delve into this week's Pick Six, let me remind our listeners where they can tune in to the Attractions Group podcast. You can catch us on your favorite podcast apps. We're talking Apple, Spotify, Google. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's really the best way to take in what we do, because we have a lot of visuals in that we like to show. But be sure to like and share with your fellow attraction enthusiasts and let them know about the podcast. So, Ryan, Pick Six, what's number one?
We're heading to Busch Gardens, Tampa. What do we got going on at Busch Gardens? I started hearing about this a couple weeks ago, that there was like construction work going on. But Busch Gardens, Tampa has revealed plans for an all-new wild oasis realm, breathing new life into the treetop trails of Jungala area of the park. It will feature attractions, animal exhibits, and other dynamic elements. The area is designed to spark creativity and imagination and expected to open in the spring of 2025. So as of this recording, that's a short time frame to do some sort of construction like this.
It looks like it'll be, a really good addition to the park.
I think so too. I'm not familiar with this. I've been to Busch Gardens as recently as last year, but I'm not super familiar with this area. But from all the chatter online, it seemed like this was the area of the park that needed the biggest hug. So good on them.
Yeah, the renderings that I've seen, they look fantastic. So, we're looking forward to following the construction progress with this. So up next, Holiday World. The Friday Night Live is returning in October. During the event, the park is open from 5 to 10 p.m. and guests can enjoy night rides, drink specials, live music with special Halloween flair. Friday Night Live will also feature the Halloween in the Sky drone show. That show is amazing. You definitely want to check that out. But here's a park, Holiday World, again, adding 4 more dates to their operating calendar.
So I read about this. I didn't know they were doing the drone show. Here's a funny anecdote about it. So we went down. We met you there for the first Friday Night Live on National Roller Coaster Day.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were driving back, we're like, that was so much fun. Let's go again. And we kind of looked at the calendar and stuff, and it's like, we can't make it. We're busy the next 2 Fridays. We're out of town one, and, she had to work the other or something. So we were stoked to find out that they're doing it again. And plus, it'll get darker earlier. And now you're telling me they're doing the drone show? Like, I seriously did not catch that.
Yeah, that's, really going to add to this event. Just a totally different atmosphere on those Friday Night Lives that you have during any other time when you're at Holiday World. The live music, the band, that they have, they're fantastic. There's a couple of different live band performances. So I really enjoyed that. The drink specials. I did not partake in that because I had to drive 3 hours back home. But those that I talked to said that they really felt that those were great deals. So it's really I think again, we talk about adding dates. They added those 3 nights in August. Those were they knew early on that they had something here, that this was going to be immensely popular, and I think it's really going to take off again for them in October. I'm excited to see it. I like the added value. I like the additional dates, and hoping to get back down there in October.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun at Holiday World, but I want to say that National Roller Coaster Day might have been the most fun I've ever had there. And
that was an amazing time, wasn't it?
When I go to Disney and stuff, like when I'm heading home, it's kind of like I'm over it, and like I can reset the clock for a while. But we were pulling out of Holiday World like, man, can we go to another one of these?
Yes.
So that's so cool. And like, for real, just until I just found out live on the show that they're doing the drone show, and I did not get to see that. And I got some text to send after we get off the air.
That's
All right. Enough about Holiday World. Busch Gardens Williamsburg is building a new roller coaster for 2025, and fans can vote on the attraction's name. The theme park announced last week that it will open a family-friendly inverted ride that pays homage to a previous attraction at the park, the Big Bad Wolf. The new coaster will have 2,500 feet of track and will reach speeds of 40 miles per hour. It's being billed as the longest ride of its type in North America. Fans can vote for its name. The options: Wolfstrom, Wolf's Reign, or Geisterwolf. Voting is set to begin on September 25th. It will be the park's 10th roller coaster in 2025. Busch Gardens will celebrate its 50th anniversary. Which name are you going to pick, Don?
I voted for Wolf's Rain.
I think I don't like any of them, but Wolf's Rain is the one that kind of sticks out to me.
I do. What I really like about this, I mean, to me, it rekindles, those memories of the big bad wolf. That was one of my favorite coasters. I mean, that was just a lot of fun. And then the theming they have with that. So with this, they bring back like going through the town that you did with Big Bad Wolf. So there's gonna be a lot of little touches, nods to it. So I really like what they're doing here.
Would you trade Verbolten to get the old Big Bad Wolf back?
Yes, I think
You
so
would?
because I would. I mean, I love that ride. It was just, but what they have there now is an excellent ride. But yeah, I would.
So what's funny is I remember when they closed Big Bad Wolf, and that was kind of early on when I was getting into the enthusiast stuff, and I remember people were really upset about that. But then when they opened Verbolten, they seemed to forgive them for it. And I never got to ride Big Bad Wolf, but I did ride Verbolten and absolutely loved it. So I can't have an opinion on
it's
that.
a great ride. I mean, it's if you could have both, that'd be even better. But yeah, I mean, Big Bad Wolf was. I mean, because of what it was, a suspended coaster. I had ridden the Bat at Kings Island. That had issues, but I was, I wanted to go there just because it was another suspended coaster and compare it to the Bat. There were elements of that were just, fantastic. Again, swinging through the town and then coming across the water there on that turn. Just a really an incredible ride. One of my all-time favorites. Just absolutely loved it. And I like that they're bringing back some, it's going to rekindle those memories. So for me, remembering Big Bad Wolf, this makes me even more excited about this ride. It's not going to be the longest, the fastest, or anything like that, but because of those memories and that, it's going to make it something that I definitely want to go see and experience.
I feel like Busch Garden, not so much Tampa. Tampa's got its fans. I'm not really one of them. But Williamsburg, I feel like when they open these little satellite parks for Universal, that's kind of what you can expect, where it's like immersive and, super high quality entertainment and stuff. So I imagine like this town that goes through, I can't wait to see what they develop for this, because remember, there's a lot of people that remember Big Bad Wolf very fondly. And if they're trying to say that it's tantamount to that, they're going to get themselves into trouble unless they have something up their sleeves. And I think they do.
Exactly. Cool. Moving on. Ryan, you remember Jogga Lake?
Never heard of it.
The long time, once popular amusement park in the Cleveland area closed years ago, but now its hometown is moving to convert the space into a new public park. The new park will not include any amusement rides or attractions, but could include a trail, public pool, a beach, with support for non-motorized boating and other activities. The concept essentially it returns Jogga Lake to its roots as a recreational space, providing a place for people to swim, play, and relax on the lakefront. While it's not going to have rides and everything, I'm excited to see the plans for this. Now, whether it moves forward, there's still a lot of things that have to happen before that takes place. But it's just, it's so beautiful there, up on the lakefront there, and to see that, there's going to be a purpose for it. That
it was such an
eyesore. That the public can enjoy again. I think that's good. And maybe down the road, years from now, maybe it does go back to its ride, because it does return. Originally the concept didn't have rides. Back in the day, it was that place for people to swim, play, and relax on the lakefront. So you never know, but at least initially, there's no plans for rides. But just glad to see that that area, that space is going to be utilized in a positive way again.
Yeah. So to clarify, and I'm not sure if the information I got is bad, like what's the most accurate out of it. And again, we're in the concept phase, so maybe it's people blowing smoke. But you mentioned a public pool. The article that I read about it said they're going to try to recommission the wave pool. So they're going to try to reopen the wave pool. So I guess in that regard, it is kind of an amusement ride. So that would be kind of cool to see that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of details unknown. But I was excited when I heard, the plans for this, and it's just a beautiful area. So even if there's not any ride, just to go up and relax and just be out there on the lakefront, I think that's going to be really enjoyable for those that live in that area.
Do you think that in 100 years, Six Flags will buy it, put in a bunch of rides, Cedar Fair will buy it from them, and they'll shut it down again, and then 10 years after that they'll do this? That'd be
Everything
funny if
goes in cycles, right?
that was the life cycle, right?
Right.
Speaking of Cedar Fair, well, speaking of Six Flags, something surfacing. So by the time you guys read this or see this, this will probably be something that's answered. But as of this recording, we don't know. But Cedar Point is teasing a brand new water ride and plans to make a big announcement today, if you're watching this podcast when it drops, which is September 19th, 2024. Cedar Point published on X last Friday and teased something is surfacing along with the date 9/19/24. What sounds so sweet may not be so. Be wary of what lies, fathoms below. Text in the video reads, speculation centers around new ride being either a replacement for the Snake River Falls, whose permanent closure was announced last month, or an all-new slide complex for Cedar Point Shores, the park's outdoor water park. My money is on a slide complex for Cedar Point Shores.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, that it's going to go into Cedar Point Shores. They had removed an attraction there, so there's room to add something else to replace that. So I think that's what it's going to be. But we don't know. It's fun to speculate, and it's kind of all over the map what people think this is going to be. There's half of them do think it's Snake River Falls is where it's going to go because of the closure of that ride. But some's going to have to go there too, right? So maybe it is going there. Who knows? But
I feel like if it was Snake River Falls, that would have closed in like June. Like, I don't think this is enough of, because they haven't done anything there yet, to my knowledge.
No,
I don't think it's enough of a timetable.
No, but I think it's either way, it's exciting. It's Cedar Point always does a good job with their teasers. They get people talking. Sometimes there's a teaser to announce a teaser, or there's an announcement to announce an announcement. But what this is going to be, we will know that tomorrow or today if you're listening to the podcast today, right?
I like how you speak as if we're in the future right now, Don. That's one thing I do like about you. Where are we going next?
Universal Orlando's original hotels are set to host 3 exciting events this fall, offering special experiences beyond the theme parks. So here's a look at what's on calendar. You got Jake's Beer Festival. That's going to return to Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort on Friday, October 4th from 6 to 9 p.m. This biannual event showcases over 50 craft beers, hard seltzers, along with a delicious menu featuring items like chicken and waffles, porter braised short ribs. They had me there with that. And German chocolate stout cake. Tickets for this start at $75. And then you look at Harbor Nights at the Dolce Vita at Lowe's Portofino Bay Hotel. It's scheduled for Friday, October 18th from 6:30 to 9 p.m. This Italian-inspired evening offers food, wine, live music, and dancing at Universal's most luxurious hotel. Tickets start at $85. And then lastly, Velvet Unplugged at Hard Rock Hotel will host British rock band BBMAK on Friday, November 22nd at 7 p.m. Best known for their hit Back Here. The recently reunited band has sold over 3 million albums worldwide. That's a pretty big number. Tickets for this intimate performance start at $20. So if you're looking for a unique experience this fall, things that fall outside of the realm of visiting the theme parks, these events offer the perfect escape from the parks.
I don't know who that artist is, but I love Lowe's Portofino Bay Hotel. That is my favorite hotel in Orlando. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a lot to say about that, but it seems like they have a pretty good lineup headed in, especially if you like that band. You can attend the performance for as little as $20. I think that's awesome.
Right. That's not a bad deal at all.
Cool. Awesome. Great pick 6. Let's move on to the listener questions. The first listener question, James L. from Winter Haven, Florida. What aspects of Epic Universe do you think will set it apart from other theme parks? And how do you think it will influence the future of theme parks design and innovation?
Well, I mean, for me, I think Epic Universe is going to push the boundaries, of immersive storytelling and the overall guest experience, ways that we haven't seen before. So I think that's the one thing that, it's definitely going to change there. This kind of innovation, it's going to set a new standard, for the industry, where parks are designed not just, for rides, but, just for a fully immersive all-encompassing experience. So I think that's something that you're going to look for.
Yeah. So for me, it's a little bit more complicated than that. I agree with every point you make. Uh, but it's since 2008 or so, like when the Harry Potter stuff opened
Hmm.
at Universal, things have changed. The standards have gone way up. And that's for Disney and Universal. So those are two parks that are on that shelf, and this affects them the most. So they added that stuff. They started getting a lot more people going there. And then they started getting the reputation of, oh, Universal is the park with the 3D simulators and stuff. Because a lot of the stuff they added through the 90s and early 2000s are 3D simulators. They wanted to get away from that. So Epic Universe will have no 3D glasses whatsoever. Additionally, they are not going to have any screen-based rides whatsoever. There will be screens in the ride, but they will be for extending scenes. Think like the Navi River Adventure at Disney's Animal Kingdom, where it's like the background is a screen and it's got birds flying in the background, but nothing like Spider-Man where you come up on a screen and you interact with the screen. Nothing
Right.
like that. The other thing is, so they have the gift of hindsight. They've got 40 years essentially of, park history behind them now. So they can do whatever they want based on what they've learned over time. They scooped up all the Walt Disney Imagineers, so they've got all their experience now. And then they've got all the people that they've had, especially like developing Harry Potter, developing like the Bourne stunt show, all that stuff. So here's a fun little fact that I don't know if necessarily has been promoted yet, but they have so much property for that South Campus where they're building Epic Universe that they could easily build everything that they own up where Universal Studios is and more. I don't know if it's twice as big, but it's certainly bigger. So we're talking about Universal Studios, Islands of Adventure, City Walk, all the parking, all the hotels, everything. They can rebuild that there. Space is not an issue. They spent billions of dollars on this stuff. To my knowledge, money's not really an issue. And they've had extra time as a result of COVID. So time's not an issue. We're going to see the best that's possible out of this park. And I think that, as you said, it's going to set the standard. And that's going to be what everybody strives to be.
Yeah, new standard, game changer. The theme park experience for guests will never be the same after going to this park.
Yeah, it's the stuff that they have planned. It's like they keep on coming out with this concept art. Even the queue lines and stuff are going to be ridiculous. There's so much to swallow. It's hard to say what are you most excited for. There's actually, let me share this. I bought they have the Epic Universe store, and I bought a Dark Universe blanket. I hope you can see it. I can't see you, but the Dark Universe stuff is the thing I'm most excited for. I don't really connect with like How to Train Your Dragon and Harry Potter and stuff as much, so I don't really get hyped up for that. I'm really hyped for Super Nintendo World, of course, but I think the Dark Universe is the one that everyone's really going to be talking about when all is said and done.
I agree with you. I think that's going to be fantastic. Well, the whole thing's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be beyond your wildest dreams. Next question, Dennis H. from Indianapolis, Indiana. With the Six Flags merger, which park in the chain do you think has the best growth potential in terms of attendance? I know your answer, Don. Just say it.
You do. My answer is Six Flags Great America in Gurnee, Illinois.
Yep.
I think that park is a sleeping giant. I think they're going to have big plans for that park. It's in a great market. There was a time, when that park did very well, in the 1980s, and then, it's kind of not done as well, underachieved, as a lot of the six parks, have in recent years. But I think there's just an enormous amount of potential there. They've got, when you look at the hardware, they've got some, amazing rides. Everything is in place for that park to really, really grow. I think that's the one park that you'll see the biggest growth potential in terms of season pass sales and single day tickets. Both of those categories. And I think a sleeper park, it's not going to have that kind of growth potential. But I think another one that's going to do very well in the future. I think Six Flags St. Louis. To me, that's the sleeper park of all of them. in the chain. That's always been kind of forgotten a little bit, but it's always been a nice park. But I think there's some good upside there as well. But definitely, Six Flags Great America. I think if you're a fan of that park, um, I think you're really going to like what happens there over the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, I think there's 3 parks that underserve the community. I think Great America's number 1. Like, I think that's like if they can pull off maybe a slightly longer season, get their ducks in order, ensure the park stays safe. It is the Chicago area, but I think that has potential of pushing up to 4 million visitors potentially. It doesn't do anything near that.
Not even close. No.
Great America is in the New York market. The fact that doesn't do an insane amount of people is completely a disservice. I think that their Carowinds, like their growth park, is probably Fiesta Texas, because San Antonio is kind of on the up and up.
Yeah, that's another one but that one, still does pretty well. When you look at it's run very well.
It does, but I'm saying I think there's growth potential there.
Yeah, there is. There certainly is. But definitely the one I'm most excited about for the future, and I think that with what the plans and that they're going to have for Six Flags Great America is going to take off, and it's going to be one of those flagship parks for them. But it's going to take some time, to get it back to where it once was and can be.
Yeah. Now the Great America side of things, they're building the resorts, they're building the zoo, like they're adding more to do. And that's when you build towards like a Cedar Point kind of situation where you don't really have the experience unless you stay there. And you can't really do it in one day. That's smart for them. That was pre-merger, of course, but I think that they realize the potential there as well. And then the Chicago one is going to be interesting too, because Chicago is a big city, obviously. Also has a big draw. There's no reason why it couldn't draw from Cincinnati, draw from Indianapolis.
Oh yeah, I mean, you had all those places. You got Cincinnati, you've got Indianapolis, you've got Milwaukee, you've got Green Bay, you got all those places. Just all around there. Even St. Louis. It's not a significant long drive from St. Louis to Chicago. Cleveland, not that far. From Cedar Point. So there's a lot of markets that they can get into and get people to go there. I think if you're talking, it would be a nice jump for them next year if they got into the 2 million range with attendance. But I think that one has the potential to do even much better than that. It's just going to take some time. But there's a lot of they got a new coaster going in next year, and they have a lot of really good rides there to begin with. So there's a lot to work with. They raise that culinary experience. I know that they'll do that. There's no question in my mind they're going to do that. So there's going to be a lot to like about Six Flags Great America in the upcoming years.
Yep, completely agree. Yeah. We'll see you next week, everybody. Make sure you follow us on all your favorite podcast apps. You know the routine. YouTube's the place to be, though. You should subscribe on there, and see you next week, everyone.